If you've seen me on Instagram doing all these crazy fun things in the salon, at the gym, with my puppy, in this episode, I share with you my secret to doing all these things, still having a happy, peaceful life. I share a real conversation I had with another Instagram influencer who got caught up in that, what am I doing with my life moment? You know the moment that I'm talking about. And I want to share with you how I have gotten over that for myself and how I helped others. So let's get to it. Are you a beauty or barber pro looking for that push to do that thing you've always wanted to do, whether it's in or out of the salon, spa, or shop? Are you tired of not feeling good enough, smart enough, skilled enough? Are you tired of not getting a handle on your mental health, boundaries, and insecurities? I'm Christine Sherwood, the BeautyPro coach, an internationally certified coach, a salon and spa owner, and your personal Jiminy Cricket. I use my own experiences, good and bad, as a salon owner to help you be more self-aware, authentic, and forward-thinking in your approach to life, in and out of the salon. It's time to reach your version of success with the BeautyPro Coach podcast. So let's say you've been watching my Instagram stories and my reels. You'll know I spoke about this a while ago. Like, I'm sure you can scroll up and see my reels and you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm actually walking my dog talking about this exact episode. But in any case, I had a phone call with one of my guest speakers on this very podcast. And she called me up and she asked me, how the podcast was going, some questions on if she should do her own. She just wanted to know, she wanted to know for herself, where do I fit in this social media world as a salon owner, as a hairstylist? I want to do all of these crazy things. And she goes, how the heck are you doing it all? How are you running a salon, creating content for the salon and your coaching business? How are you leading a book club? You're coaching, you're having puppy playtime, you're going to the gym. How are you doing all of these things? You have a life outside of the salon. And hearing it and even saying it now to you, it's like, whoa, yeah, I actually do have a life outside of the salon. The salon world has been my life my entire life. So go listen to episode 1. You will know that I'm all about hair, makeup, extensions, hairdressers, beauty pros, all of that. And hearing it back to you, you're like, oh my God, yeah, how am I doing it all? What is going on? And so I had to fill her in on my secret that is something I've also always done. And it's just the way I've always been. So here we go. So, first things first, plan ahead. Okay. You hear this, especially when it comes to social media content. If you've taken any social media classes, if you follow anybody with socials, you will know you got to plan ahead. But if you've been a coaching client of mine or have been listening to the podcast for some time now, you'll know I'm huge on 2 things. And I probably say it in every episode pretty much. The first thing is journaling, and the second is planning. But this episode, I want to break it down even further because as beauty and barber pros, especially for salon and spa owners out there, we have 0 time to eat and go to the bathroom, which doesn't mean that I'm glorifying that lifestyle. It just means it's just kind of the way it is, right? We get so caught up in that, the highest level energy state where time flies by and we don't even know what the heck. We're just so consumed with the thing that we love doing that time passes and we look at the clock and we're like, oh my God, I thought it was 9 o'clock, but it's actually 5. What? Okay. So anyway, I say this again. I'm not endorsing this lifestyle. I'm just saying that this is how it is. Um, and you get lost in the flow of time, and it passes so fast because you're living at your highest level of energy. And you blink and it's gone. And it's like, what just happened? I didn't get anything done. Or, oh my gosh, I got so much done. So it can go either way. Yes, we have to structure our day in a way that changes um, that way of being in the salon. We got to set boundaries in a way that gives us a more logical work day with a lunch break, bathroom breaks, 100%. Like, ain't nobody got time for UTIs, okay? And the industry for a while has been changing very slowly, but it's like for some it may be slow, for others it may be really, really fast. But the point is that it is changing. And this episode, I'm talking about the positive side to this, the side where you love what you do. You want to do more of what you love, and you want to also enjoy your life and look back and be like, wow, I did those things. That's so cool. And so the whole point of doing what you love and doing more of it is to not just feel fulfilled, but actually be fulfilled. You know what I'm saying? You give more to others and you just keep filling your cup. Okay. We can talk about the negative stuff another time, but I really want to focus on all the positive because I feel like there's always that, you're drained and you're stressed and you're overwhelmed and all this. But let's look at this side of it, right? You love doing hair, playing with your dog, being with your kids, crafts, you know, I don't know, t-shirt making. Like you have all these other hobbies, not just doing hair. And that's really like a whole reason too why I created the podcast, the whole reason why the guest speakers that we have on, they do so many other things, because I really want to show you that our industry is a great industry. Okay? But you can also be who you were born to be outside of the salon. Like it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both. So, for me, I've always been that little girl that really took to heart, you can do anything you put your mind to. And I was like, okay, well, let me Care Bear stare and focus on the things that give me life and just do a little at a time until I do it all. And I will tell you, I'll share another little story. When I was in university, I okay, let me back up even further. As a little girl, I was always changing what I wanted to be when I grew up. Okay. For a long, long time, I wanted to be a zoologist. And for those of you who don't know what a zoologist is, because it's such a big word, it's basically a zookeeper. I wanted to be a zookeeper. I love animals of all kinds. Okay. But then I grew up and I was like, wait, wait, wait. I really want to be a paleontologist. And for those of you who are super fans of Friends, you will know that Ross was a paleontologist, an archaeological paleontologist. And so basically, he digs up dinosaur bones. And I said, wow, that's so cool. And then I changed it. I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then I was like, oh no, I can't deal with animals all day. So then I wanted to be an ophthalmologist, which was okay. Well, if I'm going to be a doctor of some kind, I can't handle blood, right? I get a paper cut and I faint. So let me do ophthalmology. And that's really where they diagnose all the diseases of your eyes. And then I was like, I don't know, let me do optometry. And that's when you go to the eye doctor and that's who you see. And then throughout all of that, I had all these big words for a little girl, and I thought I want to be all of those things. But in the meantime, that's what I would tell people. In my heart of hearts, I wanted to be a singer and an actress always. And so in high school, I got my first taste of the theater life. And Well, I've always been a performer. So even in kindergarten, I was always performing something in Miami. So I'll say I'll say that in theater in high school is when I was really taking it seriously and looking at all the ways that the theater world is. And I was doing local shows in the local communities. I was singing, I was dancing, I was doing all these things. And I was really like, okay, I got to go on auditions. Like, I got to go to Orlando. How am I going to get there? I'm just a kid. Right. And then I was like, you know what? Then you get older and you go to college and you're like, you realize, oh, wait, crap, I got to pay bills and I got to, my house payment and this and that. And you're like, I got to make money. And so, anyway, I tell you all of these things because for me, all of those things are interesting to me. I am not just a salon owner, I'm not just a coach, who's internationally certified. I'm not just those things. I have other interests. I love animals. I love the science behind the medical field, right? And the practicality that you have so that you don't have certain illnesses. I love the arts. But for real, I really was. My acting teacher told me he goes, "You're an amazing actress, but you need to go to school." And I was like, "What? No, I want to be an actress." And he's like, "I'm not going to argue with you, but you need to go to class." I was like, "What?" It was it was a real life-changing moment for me. But in any case, like, you can have all of these interests and you can fulfill them because those are your interests, those are your desires. And when you do what you love, whatever it is, you glow. And when you are not doing what you love, like how can you, if you love the arts, why are you going to push yourself to become a doctor who is all science and not art? Okay? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if you are going to school for graphic design and then you go to apply to become an anesthesiologist, how how are you going to be happy? I know there are people who have done it. I know. But my whole point here with this episode is to really show you to fill up your cup with things that you love, whatever that is. And there are 3 points that I want you to remember. Okay? And these are the 3 points that I use so that I can do all of these things. All right? And another thing is you got to be honest with yourself too. Like, is it realistic? Like, are you really going to do this? Another example before I get to the 3 points. I have a guitar sitting in my room currently, or at the time of this recording, and I it was given to me so that I can learn because at one point I was like, I really want to learn to play the guitar. I already play piano, I already sing, I already know how to read music more or less, but I really wanted to expand that and learn guitar. And that has been years now. I have not picked up that guitar because I'm like, I don't have time right now. And I just never have time. And the reality is, if I'm honest with myself, I am not going to be able to to do to play it. I'm not going to be able to learn it right now. Maybe in another time, I'll go back and I'll pick it up, but for right now, it's taking up space. It's a terrible reminder for myself every time I look at it, and I'm not going to get to it. And so you got to really be honest with yourself and know when it's time to move on to something else. Okay, so the 3 points, let's get to it. Be organized, keep the boundaries to yourself, keep your own commitments. Don't betray yourself, okay? And number 3, commit to the process. Doing these 3 things is going to keep you from burning out. You're going to be able to fill up your cup and you're going to live to your full potential because you're doing the things that you actually love doing, you actually enjoy doing. There's that saying, there's no such thing as too much of a good thing. And for the sake of what we're talking about here, if you want to do all the things and be happy doing them, limits, boundaries, those are what needs to be placed so you can give yourself to all the different areas you want to do. You got to set a time for them and be okay. Be disciplined enough to cut yourself off to move on to the next thing that fills your cup. That's the idea with me and the guitar. Okay. The more things you do that fill your cup, the better off you'll be, because it's okay to explore different versions of you. Okay. You have permission to change and evolve and grow and be whoever it is you want to be. The only thing is here is that it's very easy as service providers, as artists in the salon, we can be a little bit more on the people pleasing side and we say yes to everything. So I don't want you to overcommit to all the things that you love because you want to be that amazing version of you. No, like that's a huge overcorrection on doing the right thing all the time. And then you become a pushover and overwhelm sets in, and then you're not happy. And then that's exactly what we're not talking about here. Okay. The whole way that I am able to do all of these things is because I am honest with myself enough to be like, okay, I do. I have like a calendar and I set it up and I'm like, okay, this day I'm doing this and that'll be like about an hour and then I got to go here and then I got to do this and then I'm realistic. Okay. So if you want to be like me, where you can do all the things and be constantly showing up, if that's something that you want, realize, like, be honest with you, like, is that your personality? Because that's my personality. I like to be super productive, super useful to my team, my family, myself. A huge part of this, like I was saying, is knowing yourself. And the only way to know yourself is to do the work. The work that I'm talking about is not to just endure and keep going and don't eat and no bathroom and none of that. No. The work that I'm talking about is the self work, the inner work. I have journals and journals, not of dear diary, this boy looked at me. No, it's journal. I have those too, but I, the majority of my journals are lists, are goals of, well, why do I want to accomplish that? What is that going to mean for me? Like it's more strategic journaling. And then, of course, my coaching. I'm a coach, but as a coach, I have to be coached, not only to maintain my certification, but as my own person, being coached by somebody else keeps me in check. And I highly encourage you to listen to episode of the podcast with Victoria Rose. She's an awesome example of how she is very driven and she has been coached by myself, and that was able, just investing in herself, was she was able to do big things in her whole entire state. So definitely check that episode out. But again, know your limits. I can't tell you how many times I've overcommitted to something and I had to back out, which is so embarrassing and it's much worse than just not signing up from the get-go. Okay. What I said in my phone conversation with this Instagram influencer that inspired this episode was, we as beauty and barber pros, we have to constantly be ready for anything, right? We got to be constantly looking for the opportunity. For me and my business, we've been looking to relocate the salon for years now. I mean, it's just time. And we're always looking for more passive income, areas we can expand into, buy a building, rent, where, and then we end up buying a house. Like, what? Like, that wasn't anything that we were looking at. It was completely unexpected. However, that whole mentality is not that it's unexpected or that it's the wrong way to go. It was the bigger plan all along, and we just didn't know it. And we didn't know in what order these things were going to come into. That's another part of wanting to do all the things, is that we have to be mindful. We have to be open and honest so that when reality hits, we can truly step into it with confidence and in truth. Whichever way is easiest, that's where you go. So if you're going through something similar, like you really want to move, but you need to move your salon, and what about your clients? And, when do you move? And what kind of services do you expand into? And how many more estheticians do you hire, or whatever it is in your business? Be looking into all of it and be ready for the one that presents its opportunity to yourself the fastest and the easiest. The minute that you have any kind of doubt, or it doesn't work out smooth, or whatever it is, let that be a red flag that you are not ready for that is not the way to go. You need to go where it's smooth and easy, and it's just better for you. Okay? Use what you have before you lose it. Okay? And don't let yourself be drained. Then you'll know that you've exhausted that avenue and can move on to the next thing. And depending on how well you know yourself, sometimes you don't even have to wait until that point. You'll know when to walk away from something and start another project. That's how it is with me in this guitar situation. So, as we come to a close with this episode today, I try to keep it short and sweet because these are heavy duty topics that it's very easy to get so in depth about, but I want to break it down in bite-sized pieces. And so, my whole objective for today's episode is to inspire you and give you clarity that if you want to do all the things that you've always wanted to, go for it. Do it. Just pay attention. Don't strain yourself, because then it's not fun anymore. And then you're pushing yourself too fast to grow and to expand and evolve. And that's not the way to go. You got to enjoy the ride because you don't want to miss out on any other opportunities. So take that to heart. I hope to hear from you in the DMs on Instagram because this is really big stuff and you really can do it. And as a little girl myself, I've always said, well, okay, well, I can do all the things. I can ride horses, be a kickboxer, and do a live theater show. Like, there's no problem with that. And you can too. Whether you're a stylist, an esthetician, or barber, whatever it is, you can do all the things.
Babes, are you totally digging this episode? Nodding your head, saying those amens? Okay, do me a favor. Go ahead and rate this podcast 5 stars, leave your reviews, follow me on Instagram at the Beauty Pro Coach, and send me a DM why you're enjoying this episode so much. The more feedback you give, the better content I can produce to actually meet you where you're at and be of the ultimate service to you. Thank you so much. Now let's get back to the show.
What are some of the things you want to accomplish in your career, your life, relationships? I want to hear about them and be able to work with you towards them. If this is something you are really serious about and you'd love to do, send me a DM on Instagram and we can chat about it. You literally can do anything. And even if that means just a little help, a little nudge, a little guidance from a coach such as myself. I'll talk to you soon.
If you loved this episode, subscribe to the Beauty Pro podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to leave your reviews, stars, feedback so I can continue bringing the content you deserve and want most. Your feedback fuels this podcast. The more you give, the more you get back. You can follow me at The Beauty Pro Coach on Instagram and Facebook. Want to contact me directly? Email me at befree@goldentruthcoaching.com.